Some progress was made in the medieval ages towards modern medicine, but most practices were still a far cry from what anyone today would want to experience. Surgical texts from the era show how deeply steeped in astrology and ancient tradition the practice was. So is it medicine, or is it magic? The following practices blur the line between science and mysticism. Waves crash on the shores of Europe, a high tide brought by the moon overhead. A physician consults their Volvel, using it to calculate the moon's position. Tonight, the moon and stars are aligned with Aquarius. With this in mind, the physician approaches their patient. Surgery on their legs will have to wait. Before scientific empiricism, medieval physicians relied on astrology to help guide their surgeries, bloodletting regimes, and even their own prescriptions. In addition to Volvels, which are a cousin to the astrolabe and used to predict sun and moon phases, one of the tools they utilized was the Zodiac Man, or Homo Signorum, man of signs. They believed each part of the body correlated to a certain astrological sign, and physicians would often revise bloodletting regimes or refuse surgery when a part of the body aligned with the moon in an astrological sign. To them, it was logical that because the moon caused high tides, so too would it cause blood to rush profusely. Here you can see the primary associations of the Zodiac Man. Aries with the head, Taurus with the neck, Gemini with shoulders, Cancer chest, Leo the sides, Virgo the belly, Libra the butt, Scorpio genitalia, Sagittarius the thighs, Capricorn knees, Aquarius lower legs, and Pisces the feet. Narrow, filthy streets make a maze out of London. The Black Death has wiped out almost half the city, but in these conditions, one of the founders of modern surgery works his craft. John of Arderne, a leading authority on surgery, has written many medical treatises, prescribes ointments for arrow wounds with opium, henbane, and hemlock. Two of those ingredients, henbane and hemlock, now have no place in the medical community and are known for their toxicity. But besides this odd treatment for wounds, the surgeon also wrote a disturbing cure to redness in the face. One must draw the blood of a virgin maid during a full moon when the moon is in Virgo and the sun in Pisces. Sir John named this cure Sanguinis Veneris. Though Sir John was known to include vague and absurd ointments in his medical treatises, it's supposed he wrote these to purposely confuse copycat surgeons. Imagine your physician recommends you let blood, as you have too much and it's beginning to cause you ill health. But the physician does not practice the bloodletting on you himself. Rather, you see the barber, trusting that the man understands contemporary medical practice. He cuts the requisite area, and there you bleed until you see small dots in your vision, and your head feels light, the threat of fainting approaching. Only then is the wound bound and addressed. This is common. It's a regime you do to ensure your humors remain in balance with the season, and every time, you risk infection or losing too much blood. Much of medical practice in medieval times was based on humoralism, or the belief that four humors were fluids which move throughout the body and must maintain balance in order for the body to remain healthy. These four humors were blood, yellow bile, black bile, and phlegm, and further associated with the seasons: blood with spring, yellow bile with summer, black bile with autumn, and phlegm with winter. The practice, as with the Zodiac Man, was highly linked with astrology, and physicians often combined the two to prescribe bloodletting regimes to keep their patients healthy. Physicians took great care to pick specific veins in order to cure ailments, as not any vein would work. Take for example this poem to help the surgeon learn bloodletting for melancholy. Springtime and summer, if we intend to bleed, veins on the right side do require as need. Autumn and winter they the left side crave, in arm or soot as they best like to have. So, for example, if you were experiencing some winter blues, you would draw blood from the left side. Why the left side? Black bile is abundant in the colder months. The spleen is the source of black bile, and the spleen is located on the left side of the body. But besides being ineffective, bloodletting ran the risk of actually bleeding out, and all of this was to better their health. The young man screamed as he was dragged to the physician's chambers. Pushed against the wall, he was chained by ankle and by wrist so the operation would proceed smoothly. He was a duke's son, but at a young age, overcome with mania so severe, his father and mother could no longer tolerate it. He needed to be fixed, and this was the cure. The physician would make an incision on the top of the boy's head, penetrating the cranium, which he had told the duke would allow the noxious air causing his mania to exhale from his mind and leave his body. The duke's son was to remain awake during the procedure, though the physician had offered an anesthesia of hemlock to put the boy into a deep sleep. But the duke had declined. Such induced slumber often led to the patient never awakening. So it was that mental illnesses, such as mania, melancholy, or dementia, were prescribed trepanning as a solution. Though usage of the procedure wasn't limited to only mental illnesses, it was also used on epileptics. The Quatuor Magistri, 4 teachers, a 13th century surgical text, recommended opening their skulls so the humors may air out and evaporate. Towards the 17th century, however, it was starting to be seen as a more extreme measure, with a separate text describing the process as such. If all means fail, the last remedy is to open the fore part of the skull with a trepan at distance from the sutures, that the evil air may breathe out. By this means, many desperate epilepsies have been cured, and it may be safely done if the surgeon be skillful. I carry the cat back to my workshop. Its struggles are difficult to resist, as this cat had clearly been eating well off the local rat population. I break its neck so its yowls would cease, then began the bloody task of skinning, cleaning, and gutting it. Hands still gory, I approach my supplies, a shelf of jars on the wall, with all manner of ingredients to ease the suffering of my patients. I pull grease of a hedgehog and bear fat from the first shelf, mixing them together before adding the requisite herbs, fenugreek, sage, honeysuckle gum, and virgin wax. Once I was certain the mixture was perfect, I crumble the resulting concoction into small pieces and stuff them into the hollow stomach of the cat, not unlike how I had stuffed goose for dinner. I placed the stuffed cat into the hearth to roast, sending my boy to fetch the patient who would come to me. Grease dripped from the cat, but the cast iron pot I had placed under it collected every drop, and only once I was certain there was no more grease to collect did I remove it from the hearth. My patient returned to me then, and I used a cup to scoop the grease out and offered it to them, saying, "Here, for your sore throat." As horrific as this process is, it was actually used for an infected throat, also called quinsy at the time. Using animals as cures for various ailments was not uncommon in medieval pharmacology. Very few concoctions were based on scientific observation, rather most were steeped in mythology and ancient tradition. Other animal cures, such as to cure gout, an intensive process include boiling a red-haired dog in oil, adding worms, pig marrow, and a variety of herbs to the pot. The resulting oil would be used as a topical ointment for the affected area. Or, if one wanted to cure their rheumatism, they were prescribed to wear donkey skin all over their sore joints. As strange as these medicinal practices are by modern standards, it's important to place them into proper context. Without scientific empiricism, physicians were limited to treatments based on what they already knew from contemporary sources, which contained pre-established ideas. It wasn't merely guesswork, they truly believed that their medicine was effective. In that way, I think medieval medicine is close to magic, by passing down knowledge which takes time and intent to learn. Still, I'm glad I live in the present with modern medicine. What do you think? Was it medicine or magic? Maybe both? Let me know what you think in the comments. Thanks for watching.